The console businesses, the gaming console business is very cyclical, and that's always been the case. You will have the launch of the console, and then the peak sales of the hardware happens maybe 2 or 3 years after that. And then software sales will peak maybe 1 year after that. But this cycle was very different because it was released in November 2020. And during COVID, there were stimulus packages, basically cash handouts in the United States and many other countries. And people used those to upgrade their home electronics. People were playing a lot of games. That caused a shortage of semiconductors, this excess goods consumption. And that made it very difficult to produce the PlayStation. And there's been a shortage, which I think was basically just due to the market. It's been across the board. And that's persisted to this day. We've now started to see these shortages of semiconductors ease a little bit. You can see that on the Malaysian semiconductor export data from March onwards. It's really taking off again. You're also seeing prices for DRAM memory chips are falling as well. I think it's a broad trend of COVID happened and the consumer electronics demand was just highly elevated. And now it's returning back to normal. And that's enabling people to, again, purchase their PlayStation. So you can measure that in different ways. There are trackers online which look at inventory at different online retailers, and they're pretty much sold out still. But the prices, you can look at those charts as well. Amazon prices have started to come down. So they probably peaked at about $1,000 for the digital version and came down to about $800 6 months ago. And now they're about $600 versus the MSRP of $400. So demand is starting to be met, but it's not quite meeting demand yet. So I would expect the sales of the hardware to really accelerate as the consoles become available and maybe peak in terms of hardware sometime next year, I would imagine.